Pause up, everybody. Welcome to Meowy Hour. I'm your host, Arden Moore. This show is brought to you each and every Wednesday night by the Cat Fancier Association. And we have a great sponsor, and that is Doc and Phoebe. They make the nifty feeding devices for kitties to work their noodles. We thank Dr. Liz Bale. She is the founder of Doc and Phoebe. I cannot do this show without one of the coolest, best people on the planet, a true cat advocate, all breed CFA judge, Kathy Black. And we don't discriminate, our doggy designee, Destiny.
Good evening, everybody.
I have to lure Casey back. He goes, what? Oh, I heard you have a really special guest. Who is it? Yes, Casey, we do. We have the amazing Susan Spaulding. She is the co-founder of the National Kitten Coalition. Hi, Susan.
Hey there. How you guys?
You are starting felines off on the right paw.
Yeah, working at it.
So we have a great show for you today. We're going to give away some prizes. I got a pretty nifty kitty cocktail to delight you later in the show. Casey's mad because there's no whipped cream. So whenever there's no whipped cream, he stays away and lets me make the drink, Susan.
Oh, I see. Well, good for him.
Yeah. But let's talk about what was happening in the news this week. Did you all catch the story about the cat named Ritz?
I missed that one.
Well, Ritz is a gray tabby, and way back in 2006, he was living in Delaware in a great home. Everything was going great. He was about 2 years old. They loved him, and he somehow got out and disappeared. Now, that was 2006. Do you know he's now 18 years old? And they found him through his microchip.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
There
goodness.
is that sweet man getting retirement living the way he deserves, pampered.
Oh, gosh.
Where'd they find him?
Here's the story. We don't know what happened to Ritz all these years, but he somehow, a good Samaritan found him eating food with some other community cats and realized something's different and had the veterinary clinic run a scan over him, and he had a microchip, and the people that had him had the same phone number and still live in Delaware. And the guy from the AKC Reunite, which is the national database for microchipping pets, said 16 years? That's a new record as far as I know. That's amazing.
Oh, that
So
is.
that microchip, and now he is living a retired life. Obviously, he was a little underweight and had some health issues, but you helped the beginning, the kittens, Susan Spaulding at the National Kitten Coalition. But I want to ask you, what do you think of the story of Ritz?
Oh, that is amazing. It just goes to show how important microchipping is. We microchip every one of our kitties before they go out to adoption. It is just so important.
I mean, that is the longest a cat of mine has ever disappeared was 57 days. And her name was Sam, the wild woman. And she was all gray. And she showed up, and I wasn't sure if it was her because she had lost weight, but I knew she had this funky thing on her tail, the way it was striped. And I went, is that you, Samantha? And she went, ah! And I'm happy to say she lived a long indoor life, but I can't even imagine. They missed this kitty, and then they didn't even, and then 16 years later?
That's crazy. I had two microchip stories very quickly. One of them was a lady that I sold a pedigreed cat to. When he was 14, she turned him into a shelter.
Oh.
And the shelter contacted me because I was still the record on his microchip, which was only about 8 numbers long. It was so old. But I knew exactly which cat it was and who the owner was, and called the owner up and ended up getting the cat from her eventually. But my other story was, I had a cat that I always microchipped when I spayed all my pets, and the guy had young kids and they were holding the door open, for something, and the cat just wandered out in Houston, got spooked when the kids went to chase it, and it ran away. And he was missing for 6 months. They found him 8 miles away.
Wow.
He was turned into a shelter. But it was 6 months and 8 miles later. We don't know how he got 8 miles away. But they were able to reunite the cat with his beloved family. And they told me, we don't think he's ever going to get off the bed. I mean, he was just so happy to be back home. Bless his heart. But yeah, microchips save lives, and they're well worth getting your cats microchipped, even if you don't even keep the registration up. At least there's somebody that's a name on record, in the beginning they can reach out to.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's probably the same with you guys as it is with us as a rescue. It's, we're the secondary on there. So at the very beginning, contact you or us, so somebody is there for the kitty, whether it's the original owner or not.
Well, it's kind of like us walking out of our house without our driver's license
or cell
any form of ID.
Yeah, or cell phone.
And then you get amnesia. You're in a world of hurt. So I was just wanting to share with all of you, and thank all of you, because we've got some people who come to watch this show that are from all over the globe, and we do appreciate that. So let's keep moving on. We have some prizes to give out, right, Kathy?
Yeah.
So last week, I was asking you this trivia question, and the question was, excuse me, because Susan doesn't know me that well, but she's going to now get to know me. I went on a fart fact finding mission, and I learned that there are more than 80 species that do toot, little expel gas, and that includes our kitties. But I gave you 4 species, and I asked you which of these actually do not pass gas. You see what my degree from Purdue University is doing for me, Susan? So here come the choices. I asked you, is it giraffes, rabbits, sloths, or turtles? And it turns out the mighty, mighty slow sloth, they have such a slow digestive system. It takes them days to digest leaves, so they don't toot. And
our very educated listeners and followers knew that. I had lots of correct answers.
Boy, I'm telling you, I'm rising the ranks of Purdue alum. So who's the lucky person that got some gifts from our sponsor, Doc and Phoebe?
That was Lisa Lord, and Lisa told me that I met her years and years ago. We had some mutual friends in the Somali cat world, and so it was nice to reconnect with a name from the past. But Lisa Lord was the winner from last week.
All right, can very much congratulations, Lisa.
And Lisa emailed me her answer as how I was able to get a hold of her. So be sure and email me your responses for tonight's question. My email is kathy.black@yahoo.com.
And look what I'm doing. Casey is being my Vanna White. I'm dropping in some healthy little pieces of treats into the Doc and Phoebe feeder and check him out. He goes, all right, I can do this. This is like Wordle for you humans. I got it. So there you go. We're keeping him busy. Yeah. So in honor of our very special guest, the co-founder of the National Kitten Coalition, Susan Spaulding, here is your trivia question for today, and you cannot answer it, Susan. Okay, here we go. Cats have the largest what of any mammal relative to their size? There's the conditions. So, what do they have on their body that is the largest of any mammal in proportion to their size? Is it A, ears? Is it B, eyes? Is it C, nose, or is it D, mouth? Again, A, ears, B, eyes, C, nose, D, mouth.
And
And
we're
I-
talking about mammals.
Mammals.
Yes.
And I am so proud of our special guest, Susan Spaulding, because she has been doing poker face.
I'm good.
not playing cards with you now. But we will reveal that answer on next week's show. And Kathy, again, just remind them.
Yes, you can type your answer in the Facebook chat. You can even type your answer on the YouTube video if you watch us via YouTube. But I need you to email me your response. It's my name, Kathy with a K, Kathy.black@yahoo.com. Thank you.
Yes, and good luck.
Until Sunday afternoon. I picked the winners Sunday afternoon.
All right. And thank you, Kathy. And thank you again, Doc and Phoebe. And shout out to Dr. Liz Bales. So a little drum roll, a little purr. Our special guest today has really been saving lives of felines for many, many years. She grew up on a little farm and now she lives in North Carolina. And she is one of the world's go-to experts when it comes to, uh-oh, I have an itty bitty orphan kitty, or this kitty has something and they don't have their mama. And she and our previous guest on Meowy Hour, Rosemary Crawford, they have co-founded the National Kitten Coalition. It is an amazing, amazing nonprofit group that is saving kitty lives, but educating us humans. So please give pause and applause to the one and only Susan Spaulding. Thank you so much for being on our show, Susan.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's fun.
So far, so good. We're talking farts, talking kitties that come back 16 years later. You never know. But tell people a little bit about yourself, because I don't know when you grew up. Were you wanting to be a brain surgeon, a concert pianist? I mean, how did you get into all this?
Actually, believe it or not, I wanted to be a vet.
Okay.
But you have to understand that this was the 50s.
Okay.
And I can still remember sitting in that counselor's office. I had better than a 4.0 average, all the stuff, 1,500 on SATs, all the stuff to do it.
But you had the wrong hormone, you had the wrong genes, right?
Exactly. And that's pretty much what he told me. He said, well, Susan, you don't want to take some man's place when you're going to be getting married. That is exactly his words. I remember it to this day. But again, you have to remember, this was the 50s. It was a very small farm village kind of thing, a couple thousand people. But
different times, very
sort
different.
of took me to heart, and I ended up studying math and Russian language and thinking about teaching. Ended up not really liking school, had enough of it, came back and got my RDA and CDA and worked at that for 40 years. So
what is an RDA?
Dental assistant, registered dental technician, a registered dental assistant. So I did have some medical background, and I had my radiology certificate and that kind of thing. So
that's good. That's good. And you have a nice smile.
And it's very, I think if people think back, lives, things that happen serendipitously. I love that.
I love that word.
I always loved animals, loved kitties especially, had kittens and cats. But when we lived in South Texas, I volunteered at a thrift shop where that benefited the Whole Country Animal League. And I just happened to be there one day when I wasn't supposed to be volunteering. This guy came in with a box of kittens that I'm sure he had gone all over the ranch and picked up. They were sort of ahead of their times. They mostly did TNR, so they didn't have a lot of fosters. But I said, hey, we're looking to adopt, about ready to adopt a new kitty. When do you think they'll be ready? And my girlfriend who ran the place said, oh, no, you don't understand. Those kittens, won't make it through the night. There is no place for them. That was when shelters were basically, 2 or 3 dog kennels. And that was it. Yeah. Anyway, bottom line was I made it to his truck before he drove off with the kittens, opened the box, and there were 13 little kittens in there. And I remember thinking, it's another one of those things you remember. How hard can this be? That's when
need
it
to get a
started.
t-shirt that
And
says
that's when
that.
it started. And I think the thing I'm proudest of, though, with the Kitten Coalition is that when Rosemary and I started doing it, no one else, none of the big organizations, none of the shelters, no one was focusing on these guys. And they were the most, as a group, the most euthanized group in a shelter situation.
You know
And
what? I mean, this is why I'm so honored you're on our show. You have revolutionized and you have saved countless kitties
Yeah.
because of what you've done and who you are teaching. And I know there's the Cat Fancier Association really loves the National Kitten Coalition. And you want to tell folks, and we'll say it again, but you have an upcoming webinar or conference coming up.
we have a wonderful learning opportunity coming up. It's our I think it's the third annual Kitten Conference, online Kitten Conference. We have some amazing speakers. It's all focused on kittens and cats. And it's just an amazing opportunity. If you register but can't make all 3 days, it's a 3-day conference. It is recorded. So within 90 days, if you've registered, you have access to all of the information. And it's just amazing. And you can head to our website, kittencoalition.org, and all the information.
What are the dates?
Okay, you're going to ask me that, and I don't. 11 through you have to realize I'm an old lady. I can't remember things.
Well, I can go online real quick if you want.
I'm going to go online and look. So
Yeah, he's going to go online. But here's the deal, everybody. She gave you a clue. Go to kittencoalition.org. And also they have a very, very good Facebook page. It's just facebook.com/Kitten Coalition. But we want people to be there. I had the honor last year of being one of your speakers, and I got
That's right. That's right.
Great. And so you get great topics of great value. But I wanted to ask you a little bit.
June the 10th through the 12th.
June 10th.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. All right. So everybody mark that down. Sign up now. You could save a cat's life and learn more about this fine animal, the cat. The cat is such a great, it's both a prey and a predator. They're not little dogs. And I think I'm blessed to I got a couple of ginger boys right here that are going to be mugging for the camera. And I have a 17-year-old cat, and we brought in Baxter, who we guesstimate is 11 years old. And he was out in the community. He was our community cat for our neighborhood. And we got him all the bill of health, got his teeth cleaned, all up to date. And he is living large in our house now. So he's 11 years old. He's been on the streets 11 years.
Amazing. Amazing.
So tell us about who you personally have, you and your husband. You said you have like a handful of some special needs cats.
I mean, this is going to sound weird, but we don't actually have any personally owned cats.
Okay.
All of my cats, I do have permanent fosters that will be with me for the rest of their lives, unless I find the absolute perfect adopter. But we do have 3 very senior dogs. And if I were to show you around my house, most of the kitchen is covered with pee pads because they're old. They're old like us.
That'll be mine when I get that old. Yep.
Yeah, they're old like us. They were all adopted at the last minute. All 3, basically, when I went to the shelter to pick up kittens, and they happened to be there, and we were ready, except for our first one. We have a corgi, we have a cockapoo, and we have a Yorkshire Terrier.
Wow.
And in fact, if you hold on 1 second here.
This is fun, isn't it, Kathy?
Destiny says, we're talking about dogs?
You said you had me at dogs. All right. Hopefully she'll come back on the air, guys.
Oh, yeah. There she is.
This is
James Tiberius.
Hi, James Tiberius.
We have a Captain Kirk fan.
Yeah. And we think he's about 10 or so.
Okay.
And he had the biggest perineal hernia that
Oh.
any of the vets I checked out ever saw.
Wow.
So it took a while for us to get him back into shape, and he just had his dental. So he's good to go.
And I am suspecting that he knows that cats are gods.
He pretty, I'm not sure whether I should say this. He humps all the kitties. Of course he's neutered, but the cats love him. They think it's fun and playful, but
Okay.
it doesn't matter how old they are, what sex they are. He just has this thing.
I had a male cat like that, but I've never heard of a dog doing that to a cat. But,
Yeah.
He's a doggy Juan. Hey, the one thing I want to dive in with you, because I was looking at this chart that was from the VCA, the veterinary group, and they did a kitten growth chart. And we have an expert here on our show with Susan Spaulding. But a newborn kitten, in general, tends to weigh about 1.8 to maybe 4 or 5 ounces. That's very, very tiny. By the time the kitty is 3 weeks old, we're talking about 12 to 15 ounces. And then when they're about 8 weeks old, they can be about 2 pounds. And depending on every little factors, by 12 weeks of age, they might get up to 3 pounds. But wow, there's a lot of growing in the first 3 to 4 months of a kitten's life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of calories and the amount of carbohydrates, the nutrition they need, which is why it's so important. Of course, mom is best. Leaving them with mom is absolutely the best. But if you're bottle feeding, getting that nutrition right, feeding them as often as they need to be fed, you're absolutely right. The growth rate, you can't even compare it to human beings, over the short term anyway.
So what is the formula of how much they get fed? It's something, so many ounces per ounces of weight or whatever. What's the formula?
Basically you feed by weight, not by age. Exactly.
Right.
When you have the mom and she's feeding them, they're going to gain, unless there's some problem with the kitten, they're going to gain normally. They're going to be healthy, happy, etc. With bottle babies and orphans, a lot of it depends. There is a formula, that's a commercial formula. There are cow's milk based formulas, there are goat's milk based formulas, but basically a good quality commercial formula is what you need. There is no way, in a really bad emergency, there are some homemade things you can use, or you can use goat's milk. But
where do people go for answers? Because I'm betting the kittencoalition.org. Can you point us to some things there that can help?
Absolutely. If you go to our e-learning center on our website, there are all kinds of, the webinars that we recorded are free to download or listen to or watch. And we have a myriad, all kinds of different downloadable free pamphlets on all of this. It has all of that information on it. And
you have come a long way from sitting in that guidance counselor's office as a high school senior, haven't you?
I was going to make him pay for that.
All right, in your next life or something. But you also wanted to make sure one of your topics that you really want to cover tonight on the show is, you said, I love to help people with immediate critical care. Things like how to keep a kitten, an orphan kitten or a bottle fed, warm, hydrated, make sure their glucose levels are right. Can you kind of take those 3 areas?
Absolutely. I think when I talk to other experienced bottle feeders, one of our biggest heartbreaks is that people think they're doing the right thing. They absolutely think they're doing the right thing. They care about the kitten. They find the kittens and they care about them and they're trying to do. But by the time they realize something's wrong and call someone, be it me or any other more experienced foster, sometimes it's too late to help that kitten. And that is very heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And it's no one's fault. I mean, they did their best with the information or whatever they had available to them. But there's 3 things that anyone can do if you find a kitten. One is warmth.
Okay.
Kittens cannot regulate their body temperature until they're at least 4 or 5 weeks old, and sometimes older, depending on how healthy they are. And wrapping them in a towel doesn't do anything because they have no heat to give that towel. So you have to supply extra heat. And those of us that do this, you know, I have little electric hand warmers and snuggle safes, but all you need is a bottle of hot water.
Mhm.
A plastic bottle of hot water. Excuse me.
And they'll get away from it if they get too warm. So they'll regulate themselves, but you have to have that heat source for them
You have to
get
have
to.
something extra for them.
That's really good.
I don't care how many blankets you wrap them in. They don't produce any heat. So that blanket's not keeping, I mean, it may keep them from losing what's there, but they really have none.
Right.
So having that extra, like I say, it is so simple. You just put hot water in a bottle, wrap it in the towel, or heat it in the microwave with the top off. And then wrap it in a towel so it's not too hot. Put one on either side. That's all it takes.
Okay, that is awesome. Kathy, are people taking note of this right now?
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. And let's go to number 2. You said hydration, I think.
Hydration, and that simply means a large portion of a kitten's body weight is water, just like most mammals. Humans are the same way. So keeping that hydration level up simply by, again, keeping them warm so that they don't lose it to evaporation.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have formula, maybe dripping a little bit of water, in their mouth to let them swallow. And again, those of us, when they get too dehydrated, we do sub-Q fluids or to the vet, IV fluids, that kind of thing. But basically just understanding that if they are not warm and hydrated, their body cannot process food. So if you try to feed them, I don't care how old a kitten is, whether he's on solid food or on the bottle, if he is not stable in terms of being hydrated and warm, and core body temperature, the proper warmth, his body cannot, if there's no fence feeding him, his body cannot absorb that food. At best, he's going to throw it back up. At worst, it's going to sit there and make him so sick that he may not make it.
So how do you get water in them or a good liquid in them safely, because they're so tiny?
If they're just barely dehydrated, then just dripping water or formula on their tongue. You do not want to force it. You don't want to stick a syringe or something in and squirt water in, because you can get in their lungs. But just letting them swallow, put a few drops on their tongue. It can be warm water, warm broth, Pedialyte, Kitten Light. There's lots of different things. Unfortunately, if you're not prepared to do sub-Q fluids, that's about all you can do. So if the kitten isn't swallowing on his own, which if he's dehydrated and hypothermic, he can't do, his muscles stop working, then you need to get to someone who knows what they're doing, to a vet or a rescuer or someone who knows.
Or the National Kitten Coalition.
That's right.
Well, sub-Q fluids, I mean, if you're comfortable doing that, if you have a bottle, you have a bag of saline from your vet and a needle, if you can pump that under the skin in several places and give them those sub-Q fluids, that is the best way to slowly hydrate that cat. Yeah.
And they will have that Camelback, right?
Yes, they'll have that little bolus of
do it
fluid.
in their neck or do it in their back, wherever, just get it under the skin. Yeah.
And your vet or your vet tech can show you how. A lot of people learn how to do it because some older pets need fluids at home. For certain medical conditions, they need to do that. So it's not rocket science. It's very easy to do.
So the other area you were also wanting to make sure for this immediate critical care is glucose. Put that in plain English for us, Susan.
Yeah, and this goes back to what you were talking about, Arden, the growth rate. needing so many calories and growing so quickly. And it's no different than a person being diabetic. Their sugar level bottoms out. And my husband is diabetic, and it's been scary sometimes if he doesn't get his meds right or, doesn't eat right. You can almost lose consciousness. You sort of don't know what's going on. Your body temperature can drop, all of which is bad for a kitten, which is why not only because of their size, but the calories getting them into them every 2 or 3 hours if they only weigh 3 ounces kind of thing, keeping them warm and but again, that is something that is so simple. I mean, there's all kinds of fancy glucose and dextrose and all that the vet can do, but at home, all you need is Karo syrup.
Karo syrup, the dark Karo syrup.
Either one works just fine. I use the light. Some people like the dark better. And without going into all kinds of sugar chemistry, people say, oh, well, I have honey or I have sugar water. And yeah, those may work over a period of time, but the kind of sugar that's in Karo, it's actually just corn syrup, is the kind of sugar molecule that gets absorbed more quickly and is more efficient in getting that blood sugar back up quickly. And it's quite honestly, if I have a kitten that starts to sort of act funny, but nothing else is wrong, he's been fine, I just start doing Karo.
Okay.
I mean, and you're not literally feeding him the Karo. I'm sorry, I talk with my hands, as you can tell.
That's okay. I'm with you.
You're not literally feeding him Karo. What you're doing, I use a cotton tip swab, but you can use a Q-tip or your finger or with glove. You're rubbing it on their gums and tongue so that it can be absorbed into their system as quickly as possible.
I've seen those little finger toothbrushes, that fit over your finger, the little green ones. I bet you could put that and put it a little dab.
Exactly.
And this is great.
I have seen kittens that were brought to me, and I'm thinking they're not dehydrated. They've kept them warm. Get that Karo. It's part of my emergency kit. You get that Karo into them every 3 to 5 minutes for a while, and it's like immediate. If that's what the problem is, if the low glucose or the low sugar is the problem, it's almost a miracle kind of thing. People have said, "Oh my God, what did you do?" I didn't do anything, but the Karo worked.
There you go. Hey, I want to also introduce you to our other feline co-host. He doesn't have a light on him. This is Rusty, the performer. And
Hi,
Rusty, come here, Rusty. Rusty is like one of the kittens you had. Samantha Martin from the Amazing Acro Cats.
Mm-hmm.
He found this orphan kitten in a dumpster full of fleas in Georgia.
Oh.
He did a lot of the things you were just saying and had him in an incubator and all this.
Mm-hmm.
And he is now going to turn 3 years old next week.
Oh,
and
what a handsome boy.
He is a foodie. But he also,
those neonatal kittens can be foodies. Once they decide to start eating and live, they never quit eating.
That's right.
I need to show that people like you and Samantha Martin, you guys, you save lives. And I now have a crazy, wonderful, never boring Rusty performer.
So let's see some of Susan's kittens. I want to see the kittens. I missed them.
Yeah, so let's move in, because one thing is a special treat for all you. She's going to slowly and not trip, take her phone and show us. I know there's a kitten you want to tell us about, Fiona.
Well, actually, I think with this setup now that you guys did taught me some tech stuff, I'm just going to get Fiona and bring her over here.
Okay, all right, bring Fiona. Fiona.
I had a Fiona. One of my charcuterie was named Fiona.
Oh, I love that name. It's pretty. It's a good name.
From Shrek.
I hear Fiona.
Yes, it's Fiona.
You got a little calico looks like.
Mm-hmm. She's a bright calico, white calico.
So tell us about Fiona. What's her 411?
Fiona was born to a feral mom. A foster had the mom and the babies, but when she was born, she had twisted leg syndrome, which is not all that unusual with kittens. But and I have had vets in the past say, "Oh, we got to put them down." unbelievable.
No.
No.
Most of the time, if it's very minor or even moderate, it will actually resolve on its own. But you can help it there. Again, one of these not rocket science, very easy kind of things. And we decided, because Fiona had a mom, that it was best for her foster mom to do some of the exercises, but to leave Fiona with her mom until she was weaned. So she came to me about a week ago.
Aw.
And basically her left leg, we've gotten really good. You can hardly tell there's anything wrong. We are still working on her, and I'm going to hold you, babe, on her right leg. And you can see,
Yeah.
you can see how it still turns in. Can you
Yes.
see?
Oh, I've had them where the foot was completely upside down.
Yeah,
you know.
and basically that's
Yeah.
where she started. And we're slowly getting it around. But I wanted to let people know, especially if you breed and you have queens, this can happen to anybody. And it's
Yeah.
not anything that should get upsetting when you see it. And basically what you use, I'm going to let Fiona go down on her bed here.
Okay.
Basically what you use, because when I first started, I would go to the vet. Nothing was small enough. Even the smallest things they had for dogs weren't small enough. And this is where you have to think out of the box. And we have done that amazingly.
You are like a MacGyver for the feline world.
But you know what these are?
Yeah.
What is that?
A
Is that
finger
it?
guard. It's a finger guard.
A
Exactly.
finger guard?
Yeah.
Their finger. They're exactly. When you sprain your finger,
Oh.
and the same thing with toe guards, these little foam toe guards that you need to separate your toes. Okay, the great thing about these is they're aluminum. You can twist them to any shape you want with little with some
Tape.
like wire snippers. You can actually cut them to any shape you want. And then what we do is
Oh my God, this is awesome.
This is better than using popsicle sticks like I've done in the past.
Popsicle sticks, depending on what we need to do, exactly. But then we can put them onto Fiona's leg, wrap them with medical tape, and leave them on. We don't leave them on 24/10 or 24/7. Yeah, 24. You can tell I am sleep deprived here.
Yeah. What a great idea. What a great idea.
And then the little foam things just sort of keep it from hurting her leg. Though a lot of times they will probably lose a little bit of hair and things just from being wrapped. But that and physical therapy. And I have had only one case, and it was really, really bad. I mean, they were basically twisted around twice almost, where we had to resort to surgery. And the vets, I'll go to the vet and we'll figure out the treatment plan and get it all set to go. Maybe take some x-rays if we think it's needed. But then I'll take them back in 6 weeks. And if I see another vet, they'll say, well, what's wrong with this kitten? There's nothing wrong with this kitten. So
Thank you. So there is more twisted leg syndrome. I like that very much. You also wanted to talk a little bit about some special need kittens, maybe that may have like an umbilical hernia.
That umbilical hernias are something that happens, again, not unusual, but especially if you have a new mom or an inexperienced mom. Sometimes they'll pull the umbilical cord when they're trying to chew it, or they're too closely to it. And basically what an umbilical hernia is just a very small open, usually very small opening where the skin hasn't closed around the umbilicus. And some of the guts, if you want to call it that, or intestines sort of bubble out a little bit. In most cases, I have had in 30 years, only one case that needed surgery right away because it was so large and dangerous. Most of the time, until you can wait until they're old enough for surgery. In our case, we wait until they're old enough to spay or neuter. But if you're breeding, then just wait until they're old enough to safely undergo anesthesia. It's more the anesthesia, actually, than the surgery.
So you don't recommend taping the penny or the nickel on their belly or something like that?
Unless most of the time there is enough of a covering that it's not necessary. That's
I'm worried about the zinc in a penny, which is very bad if swallowed by like a dog. I'm assuming the cat too.
With us, the biggest thing with the umbilical is trying to keep it clean with bottle babies.
All right.
Because it's a very fragile place. Until it heals well, bacteria can get in. And with mom cats, they keep them clean, 24/7, 100% of the time. They're sparkly clean. But with us, if we're doing orphans or bottle babies, they are squinching around on their stomach all the time with their siblings. They're pooping, they're peeing. It is really, really.
We're losing your volume a little bit. So, yeah,
it's
okay.
really, really hard work. Or not hard work, but it's really, really important to keep that area clean.
Now, so tell me this. Please tell me you do not use hydrogen peroxide.
No.
Good. Thank you. In all my pet first aid classes, that's like the biggest no-no. People think the bubbling action means it's cleaning, but you're destroying the tissue.
What you need is betadine.
Baby what?
Betadine.
Betadine.
Betadine. Okay,
iodine or betadine or iodine.
Ointment. I like to use the triple antibiotic ointment because it's also sort of a moisture shield.
Okay.
If brother over here pees on them, there's a little bit of protection,
yes.
Since mom's not there to clean it up first.
What is something for you, Susan Spaulding, that makes your day? Because I am betting you've not had 8 straight hours of uninterrupted sleep since you got involved with the National Kitten Coalition. What is it about these guys? What did they do for you? What makes you feel good? What have they helped you be a better person? How?
Actually, it's a two-edged sword. They have helped me. I think this is moving. That's part of the problem. Here we go. They have helped me like people more. people that care. People that don't have any idea what they're doing, have no money, but they find a kitten and they will do anything in their power to find someone to help it.
Okay.
And the other edge of the sword is the people that harm them.
Yeah.
The people that, even if they don't do it purposely, I guess I'm the eternal optimist. I like to think that people do things because they don't know any better. That they don't do it because they're mean or nasty. But I think that's the two-edged sword. But I think the bottom line for me is the difference. And when I started 30 years ago doing this, and today, things like this, things like you all offering me a chance to talk to people, veterinarians caring and understanding and not just saying, oh, he's less than 4 weeks old, he's going to die anyway. You're not going to save him. The big organizations like ACSUS and ASPCA, Best Friends, and I probably forgot.
And you got to shout out to the cat vets too, the American Association of Feline Practitioners.
Alley Cat Allies, all those big organizations are now on board, and we're saving hundreds of thousands, literally hundreds of thousands of lives that weren't even given a second thought.
I hope you live a long, long life, Susan Spaulding, but I'm going to tell you, when you get to heaven, look out. Here comes a big old line of kitties giving you greetings and purring.
And that is the downside of doing what I do, I think, because I try to stick with those that need it the most needy, the ones, because we have incubators and nebulizers and oxygen. I try to take the ones that maybe nobody else can do.
Yeah.
That means that I lose more than my fair share. And you need to learn to deal with that. Everybody has to deal with it differently.
So how do you deal with it? Because in my first aid classes, I give everybody permission to freak out later. So what do you do to help yourself get through a tough situation?
I go find more babies.
All right. That's all right. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
and you can know you did everything possible. You know, when
Yeah.
you do everything possible, you can't beat yourself up.
Exactly.
Yeah. But what we learn is what I'm hearing that you do. You do the best you can in the circumstances you're in with the skills you have. And if I'm a neonatal or orphan kitten in your hands, I'm feeling I got a pretty good chance.
Well, and you can't beat yourself up if you don't. Nobody knows everything. I learn so much every single year. Every time I talk to someone, we have a class, and I think back on some of the ones that I lost that I know I could save now. But you can't think like that. You have to. I sleep. The only way I can sleep at night is just what you said. You know you've done everything you can. They haven't suffered. You were there. They counted. They mattered. Whether it was for 2 hours or 20 years, they mattered.
That sounds great. Everybody, our special guest today is Susan Spaulding. She is the co-founder with Rosemary Crawford of the National Kitten Coalition. She's going to hang out and show off Fiona and others in a second. But right now, I'm going to turn the mic over to my co-host, Kathy Black, and she's going to tell us a little bit about the Havana Brown while I get ready with all the stuff to make you a kitty cocktail. Oh, come on. Who is this?
That is so cute.
Who is this, Susan?
This is Booger Squirt.
Booger Squirt? That was going to be the name of my first child. Okay, cool. Hey, we're going to have to right now get to the breed profile. Keep boogers in view and let Kathy go ahead and do her Havana Brown. Take it away, Kathy.
Okay, so we're featuring a breed a week. This corresponds with CFA, also doing a breed a week on their Facebook page. And this week is the Havana Brown that we're featuring. I think it's fitting that Art is going to have some chocolate in her drink later. So we're going to talk about a little chocolate cat. You know, we have a few breeds that only come in one color. Most of those are like the chartreuse or the Courant. They only come in gray or blue. You know, we have the Bombay that only comes in black, but the Havana Brown just comes in this warm milk chocolate brown color. It's a very unusual breed. It's a medium-sized cat in size and structure. It has a sense of power, yet also elegance and gracefulness. And its most two distinctive features are its head shape and its coat color. So the head shape I describe as a light bulb. You know, when you think about a light bulb, it's rounder and broader at the top. It narrows down to that very distinctive muzzle. And that's how they describe the Havana Brown breed. It has green eyes. It has large tilted forward ears. And it comes in this rich, warm mahogany brown color. That's a red brown rather than a black brown. The coat is short to medium. It's smooth and lustrous, lies close to the body, and it's kind of been likened to a mink coat. So, so let's look at some Havana Browns. One thing that I always, when I talk about this breed, I like to bring up the idea that this breed has very few breeders working with it. It seems to have had a resurgence in the last few years. There's more breeders now, I think, than there were before. But the breed kind of got into a position where it was really lacking the diversity it needed for its health. The board agreed, the CFA directors agreed to let them outcross to brown, ebony short hair, oriental short hairs, the chocolate color ones, and then they can breed those back to get the head structure back. So that has increased the gene pool, and we've kind of seen a resurgence of this breed. You can really see that distinctive muzzle in these two pictures that I have here. Everything on this cat is brown, including the whiskers. They oftentimes will have a little naked spot on their bottom lip. It's just something that's kind of a feature of the breed. So that little patch of hair missing there is pretty normal in this breed. But like I said, everything's brown, including the whiskers, except the eyes are green. And very unique cat, muscular cat, very fun cat to be around, a very unique cat. So if you're interested in finding a Havana Brown, you're going to have to pack your patience. There's few breeders scattered across the country, but they are a very unique breed and very proud member of CFA. And we're happy to highlight them this week. And we've lost Susan. Oh, there's Susan. So Susan, what is the story of the little kitten that you had, Boogers? What's Booger's story?
He actually is a breed that I had never heard before until the breeder asked me to help. He is a Scottish kilt.
Never heard of it either.
It's got folded ears and
a Scottish fold.
Munchkin.
Okay.
Well,
it's a Munchkin fold.
The short legs. And
Okay, it's a Munchkin fold. Okay.
He is a great example of, again, things that would cost you a fortune, even if you could afford it for the vets to do at an emergency hospital. He had some, what we think was aspiration pneumonia. And so he's been on oxygen. He's actually gained 2 ounces in the last 3 days.
That's
so
good.
I have changed from being really worried to being very optimistic about him. He is the most adorable little booger. Hold on.
That's why his name's Booger. Booger Squirt.
Yeah, there's lots of I don't condone it, but there's lots of breeds that
Say hi to Mom. I think Mom April is watching. April, hi. Here's your baby boy. Anyway, he is a good example of the fact that it is great to have all this wonderful equipment, but nebulizers and incubators. But basically, before I was fortunate enough to have all that stuff, I made do with what I had, which basically was a top-loading carrier with a clear plastic bag around it. It is a perfect oxygen tent. All you need is an oxygen concentrator. And so and I like it better than the big heavy incubator because I can take him with me from room to room if I want to, put him in the bed with me so I can listen to him. Anyway, he is doing wonderfully. His tissues have turned from blue to pink. He is eating a huge amount. Yes, I'm telling him about you.
We got about 7 minutes. We got to wrap up some other stuff too. So,
and then I want you to meet one more group, and then I will be finished.
Okay, because we got some other things we got to finish up with. So we got it. All right.
Okay.
While she's grabbing the kitten, tell us about CCW, Kathy, because that is also life-saving and helpful.
Yes, the CCW program is CFA's program to recognize the non-pedigreed cats. It stands for Companion Cat World. And it's 10% of your $13 registration fee goes to a local shelter. You get a membership card with your cat's picture on it, your cat's name, and your information. Your cat's picture goes up on our gallery of cats. You can see all of that on our website at cfa.org/CCW.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, who do you got now, Susan? Oh, your volume's off.
You're on mute, Susan.
You're on mute. You're not on mute. You're on mute.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. I'm turning the light on for this one. This is my snake pit.
Smoke pit?
Snake pit.
Oh, snake pit.
Oh, wow, look at all those babies.
Look at
It's cobra and viper and boa.
How old are these kittens, Susan?
They were born Friday to a community cat. And the story that I got was, let me go back to where you guys can see me a little better, to a community cat that the neighbors were trying to watch and help. And then Monday they found her with a prolapsed uterus.
Oh my goodness.
So they called and asked for help. And those guys will probably move on to one of our other fosters and be split up like 3 and 4. It's a little healthier to have smaller groups of them together. But basically, they were healthy. Mom, until the day she passed, did her best to take care of them. So
bless her, bless her. Hey, everybody, please go to the kittencoalition.org. You can find out ways that you can help. We just have a few minutes left, so I gotta wrap this up.
Yep.
We have some thirsty people here, Susan.
Okay.
So we're going to create the Meowy Cherry Chocolate Delight.
All right. Well, I'm going to go get mine here.
Get your iced tea. And
Yep.
we want to do a shout out to Teresa Kiger. She is the one that creates these outstanding graphics for my kitty cocktails. And this is a cocktail sure to make all you chocolate lovers purr. To be able to make this, it's pretty easy. I've got my little stand here. I hope I don't spill everything. Here we go. What you want to do is take a cocktail shaker and get some ice in it. Then you want to do 1.5 ounces of vodka, which is a 6 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Don't worry, Susan, I'm not going anywhere. And you also want to do 1.5 ounces of creme de coco. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You want to go ahead and get this all shooken up. So my cats are coming, but they're disappointed. There's no
There he
cream
is.
today.
They want the whipped cream.
What you want to do is you want to strain it into a nice rock glass with a square or big circle ice cube, because it's nice. It takes a while to get all the flavors to melt. So you pour it in here, but you're not done. You then take some cherry brandy, and you're going to put in a teaspoon. And so what I like to do is I just do it on the back of the spoon of my cocktail stirrer. So I do it this way. I just count to 1, 1. Here comes the cherry. And then all you chocolate lovers, you're then going to put some chocolate syrup in it, which came out too quickly. And you give it a stir. Hey guys. And so at this time, please, I would love you all to raise a glass. It is time for all of us to toast to all cats, senior cats, primetime cats, kittens, orphans, neonates, purebreds, mixed up whatevers like my boys. And we need to toast them because they make us better humans. Cheers, kitties.
Cheers.
Cheers.
This is to be savored. I don't need an ice cream sundae.
No.
I have the Meowy Cherry Chocolate Delight.
You have one right there.
I tell you what, you come and watch the kittens and I'll have the drink.
Okay, all right. Deal. I am so excited, so happy that we have had the opportunity to get a little bit of tips from one of the most outstanding people in the field of helping out orphan neonatal kittens in general. We're of course talking the co-founder of National Kitten Coalition, Susan Spaulding. We thank you so much for being on the show. I hope you had a good time.
Oh, I did. And thank you so much for having me. I think the greatest thing is just like say, knowing that people learn something.
That's right. And
Hopefully
this show goes on YouTube.
Everybody can save a life now.
And I want you all to see if you can go to attend the 3rd annual online kitten conference, which is June 10th to 12th, presented by the National Kitten Coalition. We hope you get a lot of people signing up for that, Susan.
Yeah. Thank you. It's well worthwhile, well worth your time.
And I want to, of course, thank the Cat Fancier Association for bringing Meowy Hour each and every Wednesday night live on Facebook and then also on YouTube. And I can't do this show without All Breed CFA judge and friend, Kathy Black and Destiny. Come on, baby.
He is so patient, Kathy. He did such a wonderful job.
She
Maybe,
has to be right here. Yes,
maybe James, your Yorkie, wants to kind of hump, Destiny. Who knows?
probably. She
Well,
would
he
enjoy
found-
that.
I
found his-
also want to thank our sponsor. I'm talking about Doc and Phoebe. They make these amazing hunting feeder kits and more for cats and kittens to work their brains and give them an enriched life indoors.
So
And-
who's next week, Arden?
And finally, I wanted to say, next week, we got a real popular guy from the CFA. You've seen him at a lot of cat shows. Of course, I'm speaking of Mike Alto. And Mike, be ready. Are you going to be ready for us? Anything you want to say to him real quick, Kathy?
Oh, you'll be ready.
So until next time, same cat channel, same
Oh.
cat time. We'll
Cheers.
see you on Meowy Hour. Thank you
Thanks,
guys for
ladies.
all tuning in.
Bye.